It's Dolph. No, but it's motherfucking wavy. But we doing the documentary today. We switching it up. We doing something different. Know what I'm saying? And it's finna be lit. Like, let's not waste no time. Let's get it. This is gangster music. R.I.P. Dolph. This is gangster music. This is
real gangster music. Paper route fam, nigga. Paper route entertainment, homie. Young Dolph, Striller Squad.
Hell yeah.
You know what it is. The realest nigga in it, homeboy.
Woke up feeling like the man of the year. Speeding in the lamb and I ran to a deer. I only speak money, nigga. I'm definitely
Speeding in the lamb and I ran to a deer.
Jr. was born July 27, 1985 in Chicago, Illinois. Spending the first 2 years of his life, he lived with both his parents and 4 siblings. He had a large family, and it was even later revealed that he was blood cousins with Juice WRLD.
What?
His parents were rumored
This
to have
nigga
been
was
deep in the
cousins
dope
with
game
Juice
and were
WRLD?
considered unfit to raise him. His family would become split because of this. At just 2 years old, he moved to Memphis, Tennessee to live with his grandmother with his brothers.
Shouts out Granny.
Although she did her best to provide for him and his siblings, he stated his childhood was nothing less than a living hell. His grandmother didn't want to see him go down the same path as his father, so she tried to shelter him from the reality of the streets. But she was in her late
Granny's gonna do
70s
it,
trying
man.
to raise 3 boys in a hood filled with gang and drug activity. By the age of 9, he had already witnessed his first murder and was realizing the situation he was in. Although he
Yeah,
tried to
9 is
respect his
crazy.
grandmother's wishes, he didn't want to put all the responsibility on her. So at age 15, he hopped off the porch with one intention only: get
Age
money.
15 hopped off the porch. Hey.
He says hustling was easy for him, and he quickly realized he was good at it. He always knew the risk he was taking indulging in the lifestyle, but it was a risk he was willing to take if it meant making it out one
That
day.
nigga Dolph funny
Despite
as a
spending most days
bitch.
after school in the neighborhood, he made it a point to finish school to make his family proud. But he already knew college wasn't an option. At the time, he didn't know how he would make it, but he knew the consequences that would come if he stayed in the streets too long.
Hell yeah,
He
fuck
built
them
a
streets, boy.
reputation and started becoming well known just by the cars he drove. By his early 20s, he was already stacking a few $100,000. It was addictive to him. The first time he made $100K, he said the only thing he thought about was how easy it was, and how easy another
Damn.
$100 could be. This temptation
That
kept him
nigga
constantly
Dolph is
going
a
for
flex,
more,
bro.
but he was still looking for ways out. In 2008, Dolph went to a local music studio in Memphis with a friend. He had no intentions of making music, but he was just there hanging out.
That
messing
nigga said
around.
I had no
At the
intentions.
time, Jeezy was a huge artist, and his song White Girl was getting played all over the US. The engineer at the studio pulled up the instrumental to that song, and Dolph began freestyling for fun. His
Come
friends
on.
were shocked by his bars and told him to record the freestyle for real. He didn't release it, but instead he would listen to it while riding around town, and people began asking him to play it whenever they saw him.
Oof, I didn't hear this
With the whole
song.
hood behind him asking for a full-length mixtape, he knew it was worth a
I
shot.
wonder did he release
He
it?
wasn't concerned with where it could go. He was already making money in the streets. Initially, he rapped under the name Lil Hitler, but quickly changed it to Young
Lil
Dolph.
Hitler. Dolph is hilarious. Young Hitler is insane.
He started recording more often, and he released his first mixtape, Paper Route Campaign, in 2009.
Paper
He
route.
printed 20,000 copies and passed them out throughout Memphis. A lot
Damn.
of people already knew of him.
Yeah, that
so
nigga
this only
had
made it
money.
easier to
20,000
transition
copies?
From a hustler to a rapper. Going from club to club, he got rid of every CD, and the respect started to show immediately. This was all actually a part of his campaign. Every Friday night, he bought a VIP section, ordered 200 wings and 20 bottles, attracting enough attention until the party became a paper route party. He had
That's
to
some
take it
smart
further, though.
shit.
He decided to go to Atlanta to promote himself. It was here that he paid Gucci Mane and 2 Chainz for features on his upcoming tape. Seeing the success he was already having, he really started to consider this as a
Oh,
way
for
out.
weed
He
money
was
is
gaining
crazy.
momentum. People couldn't help but not pay attention to his next move. He booked his first show in Memphis and was paid $5,000. He ended up throwing all the money in the crowd. When asked why he did this, he said he
What?
wanted to give the money back to the streets. It was never about money for him. He had a bigger vision.
Dolph is one of the realest, bruh. For real, my nigga. Like, come on, you just gonna throw your whole first show
He got
money
into
into
a
the
car
crowd?
accident that almost took his life and lost his grandmother shortly after. But
Fuck.
these events made him realize how fragile life was, and he got to work building a legacy. From 2010 to 2014, he released over 10 mixtapes, making him one of the most consistent rappers of the time.
Sheesh.
All of them would do well in the streets, even getting co-signs from mainstream artists. By now his music was reaching beyond Memphis and a real buzz was forming around his name. Labels were calling trying to get him to sign major deals, but he turned down every single offer.
Hell
He knew
no,
if he
it's
kept
Dolph.
grinding, he could make his paper route label become just as big as any label. He later revealed it wasn't just major labels reaching out, but other artists like Yo Gotti, who was also well known in the city.
Ho Gotti.
Yo Gotti offered a deal for Dolph, but he turned it down because he didn't need the money, and he didn't want to be known for only signing to someone else.
Only signing to Ho
Initially, there were
Gotti
no
is
issues
crazy.
with Dolph turning the offer down. It was just business. He kept making waves in the industry, dropping hit songs like Preach and Cut It with OT Genesis.
Preach.
But by 2016, the Young Dolph and Yo Gotti issue appeared to be a lot larger than before. The two began taking shots at one another in songs and on social media. Dolph stated Yo Gotti was still mad he wouldn't sign to his CMG label
Like a
or do
hoe.
music with him.
Ho Gotti.
This beef would actually divide the city of Memphis for years to come. It was either Paper Route or CMG. Other rappers like Black Youngster, who was signed to Yo Gotti, would also join in the
Okay,
beef.
Black Youngster was
After
one
Dolph
of
released his first
the most
album, titled
hilarious
King of
times
Memphis,
in a rap
things
game.
escalated further. He
Lahore.
stated the album name didn't mean he was the only king of Memphis, just that he was a king. Despite trying to downplay it in interviews, both sides continued to release songs targeted at each other. Most notably, Young Dolph's Play With Yo Bitch song, which mocks CMG and Yo Gotti for trying
Don't
to
play
sign
with
him.
me.
Things would start
Play
to
with
get
your
serious.
bitch.
I ain't got time for doing shit but count still.
Count Skrilla.
Just one day after this was released, Dolph was in North Carolina in a black SUV. Around 6:30 p.m., a car pulled up next to him and released over 100 shots into the car.
How the fuck you
Luckily
miss
for
a
Dolph,
whole
he had
100
already spent
shots, nigga?
$250,000 bulletproofing the entire
Don't
car.
play with me, Ho
He
Gotti.
left the scene without a scratch and performed
You a
at the
hoe,
club
man.
the same night.
Fuck wrong
This
with you?
inspired his next hit song, 100 Shots, but the smoke wasn't clear. In September that same year, Dolph and Yo Gotti were staying at the same hotel in Hollywood, California. 3 men approached him outside the hotel, and a fight broke out. Dolph was knocked to the ground when one man pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times.
God
He
damn.
was sent to the hospital, but he recovered a few days later. A man named Corey was arrested on an attempted
Corey,
murder
ugly
charge.
ass. Look at how ugly this bitch ass nigga Corey is. And you broke as hell, Corey. Where the fuck you at now, bitch ass nigga Corey? Fuck you, Corey. Don't play with me, Ho Gotti.
Corey was Yo Gotti's affiliate. Surprisingly, things appeared to slow down after this near-death experience, although it was made clear both sides were not going to let up. Dolph's career continued to grow. He shifted his energy to signing new artists and producers to his Paper Route label. Most notably his cousin Key Glock, who also started
Yeah,
to make
Key
waves
Glock.
for Paper Route in
That
2018.
bit bar.
Their songs together were becoming fan favorites, and they even dropped their collab album, Dumb and Dumber, which peaked at number 5 on the Billboard. Although Dolph had released his first mixtape 10 years before, his music was still evolving, and he was finally getting the recognition he deserved. In July
Man.
of 2021, Dolph
That
and
nigga
Paper Route
been
dropped
getting
their
that
first
shit from
label
the streets.
project, Paper Route Illuminati. This helped introduce the world to a variety of new artists he co-signed. He wanted everyone in his Paper Route label to
Yo,
win
that
and
is
was doing everything he
insane.
could to make
Is
that
that
a
Naruto
reality.
Wick? I did not know this.
Said Dolph, you that nigga.
Unfortunately, on November 17th, Dolph left his home in Memphis in his Camel sports car. He headed down to a local bakery where he often bought his favorite cookies from. While ordering inside, a car pulled up alongside the shop and opened fire. Dolph was hit at least 2
Damn,
times
bro.
and passed away on the scene. Memphis police encouraged people to stay inside, as Dolph's influence is so large in the city, they feared retaliation. Photos of 2 suspects and a
believe
Mercedes-Benz
it.
coupe have been released.
Who is these fuck niggas? Now, I ain't asking to, but fuck them niggas and fuck Ho Gotti.
But they have not been identified yet, as law enforcement are still building a case. Fans
Damn.
bombarded Yo Gotti's comment section on Instagram,
What the
assuming he may have been
fuck?
involved in this, but it's too early to make assumptions to that degree.
I can make
Young Dolph
assumptions.
spent 12 years building his empire that he said his kids' would eat
Ho
off of.
Gotti.
There's no question that he accomplished that goal, but he also wasn't anywhere close to being done.
Look
As
at
an
my
artist
nigga
that
Dolph
stayed
having
true to
that shit
himself,
on.
stayed independent, and took the long road, he had a long life ahead of him. Memphis and the rest of the hip-hop community will miss him, but the Paper
Oh,
Route
God.
empire is forever.
Like what Buddy said, man. The Paper Route Empire is forever, man. R.I.P. Dolph, nah. Real talk. R.I.P. Dolph, and I'm finna play some Dolph as soon as I get done editing this video. Real talk, man. But if y'all enjoyed that video, if y'all fuck with Dolph, go play some Dolph. But like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, stay out the way, motherfuckers. Cause my boy Dolph is just getting some cookies, bro. Niggas hating on him, bro. Like, real talk. So stay out the way, but most of all, niggas, this is the biggest part. Most of all, peace, real talk.